This is the Brother LX3014. And, of course, I gave myself a challenge. I was using my 1591 and my 1901 white family rotary to make a face mask. And I was making a video yesterday, and I said, you know what? The new machines just can't do what the old machines do. And yet, since my surgery, moving around 30-pound machines is not good for me. So one advantage to the Brother right off the bat is that it weighs about 13 pounds, 12 or 13 pounds. It's got a built-in handle. You just pick it up and you're ready to go. So I have just wound a bobbin. That's a side winder. Great tool to have. I just didn't feel like unthreading the machine to wind the bobbin on the machine. I have wound a bobbin. I'm going to pop it in there, and I'm going to make a 5-layer face mask today with the Brother, and I'm going to find out what kind of issues, if any, I run into. Have it all ready to be cut out, and one other main reason is because these are the type of machines that are available now. So I'm thinking of my, one of the people I know here, my friend, she bought one of those, and I had one a while ago. They're curved like the shape of a C, and they're mini machines. And she bought one to make curtains, and I had said yesterday I offered her the ability to use this Brother, and she thought this was too much for her to learn all at once. And actually, this is kind of the lower line Brother. I think it's still a mechanical machine. It's non-computerized. And she could have figured this out. But there's that mindset, if people don't know how to sew, there's that mindset that it might be too difficult. So this is an easy machine to use. This is average. I got it on sale for $50, but I think originally it was probably $100 or $110. I've had it for about 5 years now, and I don't use it as often as my antique machines, but it works fine. So now, because I opened my big mouth and said the new machines can't make a 5-layer mask, I'm going to make a 5-layer mask with one. Okay, so the first thing I'm doing is sewing the disposable mask material in the curve, and I'm sure the machine will have no problem going through this. And this fabric will shift a little in the 2 layers. You have to watch that. Now this is a wider presser foot, so you have to pay attention a little bit more to your seam allowance, because if I follow the right hand side of the presser foot as a guide, I'm going to end up with wider than a 1/4 inch seam allowance, which I don't want to do. Now this mask, I want to get this mask done quickly this morning, because it's for one of the administrators for Meals on Wheels, and she's coming by later. So if this can work without any issues, it'll be perfect. Okay, so obviously that's the easy stuff. Now we get to put it all together. One main advantage to the disposable mask material is that you're getting 3 layers of filtering fabric without a lot of bulk. It doesn't have anywhere near the bulk that the muslin had. Now, so this is actually 4 layers. This is one section that is the disposable mask fabric, which is 3 layers, and then 1 layer of muslin, and this will be the lining. And I'm using the method of sewing the lining into all into one piece, which then gets attached to the front of the mask. And I've got several pins in this, 5 or 6 pins, because you don't want it to shift, and as I said before, you want the curves to line up. Now, I had said that I didn't think the Brother could go through 6 layers of muslin, but I'm probably going to test that also, because it's not having any problem at all with this. So when I get this piece done, I will then be pinning this to the front part of the mask with the elastic on the inside and going around that, which is essentially making the mask. And then after that, I have to go up the front seam and put in the pleats and the nose bridge. So more pinning. Okay, I did sew the lining to the front of the mask, and the camera wasn't on, so we're missing that part. But the Brother went through the 5 layers of the mask without a problem, sewing it together like that. So now I'm at the nose bridge, and with a wider presser foot, you're going to get just a wider space where you have your wire in there. You could use a zipper foot if you wanted to go around this a little bit easier, but I'm trying to use just what comes with the machine. So this part of the sewing is going around the mask and doing the first line of top stitches. So this is 5 layers it's sewing through, and it's not having a problem. And so the thickest part for any machine to go through would be if you were making this out of muslin, and when you needed to put the actually 6 layers of fabric together and sew that front seam, that's when you'd be going through 6 layers of fabric. Again, it's important to get the bottom of the mask, the seam allowances, in place. And now we just go around for another round and then put the pleats in, which I'm going to jump to there. Okay, so the last two things are putting the pleats on the sides and going up the front seam, and I want to pin it before I do the front seam, and that's not going to be a problem with stitching because it's just going to be going through the center of the mask, and as long as you pin it so that the seam allowances line up and you go on either side of them, that's not a lot of fabric. So here are the pleats, and this would be the other area that would be thick. And not a problem. Now, on the other machines, what I've been doing was turning the hand wheel myself to get it to go through this very edge of the pleat. Simply because it's just awkward for the feed dogs to move it. But the brother tends to, if the bobbin thread doesn't go smoothly, the brother tends to give you a hard time. So see, that's not advancing, and there are several little stitches. So that doesn't go as well with this as it does with the older machines. But I can just hand tack that with a couple of stitches and a regular hand sewing needle. So that's the only drawback so far, is that that's too thick for it, which is really not a problem, because I wasn't even sure the 1591 would go through that. But the pleats themselves are 5-10 layers of fabric, because you're folding over the fabric. So I owe the brother an apology. And there's a 5-layer mask on the Brother LX3014.